Hello, fellow peasants. Today I'll be reviewing 2001's Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone. Okay, guys, so today is my birthday, and so I decided to sit down and pop in Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone, or if you're across the pond in England, the Philosopher's Stone. This came out in 2001, directed by Christopher Columbus. If you've never seen anything else of his, I guarantee you have. He also directed Home Alone, which was scored by John Williams, and this film was also scored by John Williams. Christopher Columbus just has a magical touch. There's something about his directing and the camera work, and when he teams up with John Williams, they just are able to create such a magical, wholesome feeling that you really can't get out of another duo. And so I watch these movies every year. I watch all 8 of the Harry Potter films every year. I pop them in around this time of year, around Christmas, winter, because I don't know if it's because the first film has Christmas in it, or I don't know. There's just like a warm, cozy feeling I get when I watch the Harry Potter series, especially the first 2 to 3 films when they're still youngish, and there just seems to be a little bit of that Disney magic going on before they get older and everything's really serious and dark and depressing. The first handful of films really are joyful and happy and adventurous, and especially the first 2 that Christopher Columbus directed before he left to spend more time with his family. The first 2 Harry Potters have a signature feel that the rest of the franchise never quite was able to match. But I love this movie. I love the Sorcerer's Stone. I loved it when it came out. The books came out around the time I was in middle school. This film came out when I was in 10th grade. So I was 15 when the Sorcerer's Stone came out into theaters. I never saw it in theaters, but we did rent it, I believe, or bought the film back in the day. My parents did. And I've always loved the film since then. And I was a huge fan of them all the way through The Deathly Hallows Part 2. I'm not going to get into what this film is about because everybody and their brother knows what Harry Potter is about, so I'm not going to give a synopsis here. Everyone knows what Harry Potter is about. I'm going to get into what I like and what I don't like about Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone. What I like, first of all, is, like what I was saying earlier, the directing here. The sense of pure 100% magic and adventure and escapism. The environment of Hogwarts, Harry Potter's friends, just the whole world building, and all that is really truly due to J.K. Rowling. Christopher Columbus could only do so much by himself. He had the wonderful world building and writings of the Harry Potter books to make this film with. So you have to credit J.K. Rowling for sure with the material that was supplied to Christopher Columbus and John Williams to create this masterpiece. The acting in here, excellent, especially for the age these kids were at. I think they were 10 years old. Daniel Radcliffe, they were 10, 11 years old. And so the performances they give here are excellent. Similar to Macaulay Culkin in Home Alone gave an excellent performance. It's just amazing, the nuance and the facial tics and the little the details that some of these younger actors could portray in their performances. But overall, yeah, man, just the freaking world building, just the Hogwarts, the train ride there, just everything about this film. It's not just very English, because the film starts out in England, in the regular world, in the Muggle world. And so you have that atmosphere. You have that, what do I want to say? That cloudy, overcast, English suburban atmosphere going on at the beginning. And then you go off to this wonderful, magical fairy tale world where kids go to school to learn to be witches and wizards, and there's castles, and there's dark forests, and there's werewolves, and there's a mystery to be found in the castle, and you just fall in love with the character of Harry Potter because he's just like an underdog. His parents were murdered. He's living with this Muggle family that hates him, and he thinks he's a nobody. He has no self-esteem. He's not treated very well, and then he goes off to this place where he's somebody. He's a celebrity. He's well known in this wizard world, and it's quite a shock to him. Especially around Christmas time, where he has Christmas presents under the tree, and he's like, "Wow, I have Christmas presents," So, and he's just as amazed at this world. Like everyone else in the film seems to be they're all kind of like, whoa, this is cool. It's cool to be at Hogwarts. But Harry's really taking it in, And I think it's because a lot of the other students, they grew up in wizardy-ish families. Harry didn't grow up in a wizard family. He grew up in a Muggle family. So all this wizard world, all this terminology, all this witchcraft stuff in general is brand new to him. And he's just eating it up. And you're kind of learning it all as Harry's learning it. So you're experiencing Diagon Alley for the first time with Harry. You're experiencing Hogwarts for the first time with Harry. So you're on this adventure with him. And that's part of the fun too here is, it's the world you're in. It's experiencing the world while the main character experiences the world and explores it. It's meeting all these new friends, and they're great characters as well. Hermione, Ron, Hagrid, Dumbledore. You're meeting all these new people. There's all kinds of just magical little things that happen here and there. There's so many examples I have, but there's so many examples in the film of just little things, when one of the teachers turns from the cat into her normal self, and she's like, "You're late for class." It's just little things like that, that cute little tricks and things that they do in the films that make the film really special. And it's just a delight to watch. It's just one of those films that's just pure 100% escapism for me. The story here is great. The CGI in the film. So let's get into the things that I want to nitpick about for this. The CGI in this film is a bit dated now. I know it's a nitpick because at the time it was decent, but the CGI never really was that great in the film. Like the troll and some of the green screen for the Quidditch match always looked a little rough to me, even upon its release. So I'm gonna knock it for that a little bit. Also, there are some spots in the film where the acting feels a little forced. Sometimes it feels, I don't know how to put it, not forced, but maybe they're trying too hard in some of the dialogue. Sometimes it can come off a little cheesy and a little too kid movie, which sounds weird. Like this is a kid movie, but at the same time, sometimes the dialogue can come off a little too kid movie, and you're like, okay, because for most of the runtime, it carries this tone of a more mature kid movie, you know, but then sometimes there's dialogue where it's like, okay, well, that's something that would be in a rated G Disney flick or Disney Channel movie or something. I don't know, but and then lastly is just some of the explanation for what exactly is going on. Like, you know, Voldemort was this monster out in the forest at one point, you know, because he kills the unicorn. Voldemort kills a unicorn in this film. And it's like, okay, so if that was Voldemort out in the forest, and Voldemort is also inside of the professor, because he's on the back of his head and all that, like, is Voldemort just like shape-shifting? Like, it's never really explained thoroughly, like, how Voldemort manifests, and, like, you know, like, okay, what realm is he in? How exactly is he going about doing all this? It's a little confusing exactly the means by which Voldemort can return and will return, and what he needs to do to return, and what exactly his goals are, you know. Obviously we have 7 other films after this, but I really always have found the first couple films to be a little confusing in terms of the explanation of Voldemort and the means by which he comes back and he tries to come back and all that. It just seems a little muddled. And I guess the last nitpick is when Dumbledore is assigning points to the houses. He rattles off things that only us, the viewer, and the main characters witnessed, like the chess match and stuff like that. Like, unless he has like the magical powers to see what's going on at all times, like Santa Claus or something. But it was like, well, you weren't there for the chess match. Unless all this information was, unless a lot of the things that happened in the third act were told to Dumbledore, and he was like, oh, very brave of you, I'll award you some points. But you don't see any of that in the film. It just seems like Dumbledore just awards all these points for things that he never was bear witness to. You know what I mean? And so it's just kind of like, well, how'd you know about that? How'd you see that? How'd you... but anyway, guys, I really love this movie. It's one of my favorite movies of all time. I love it's one of the best franchises of all time. I have another video here on my channel where I talk about Harry Potter, in my opinion, being the last great franchise. You know, because, you know, there's Star Wars, there's Jurassic Park, there's Indiana Jones, there's, you know, and so I really feel the Harry Potter franchise is the last great franchise that we've had. I'm not saying that there can't be more new original franchises that start sometime in the future. I'm just saying there hasn't been one since the Harry Potter franchise. We have not had a Star Wars, a Back to the Future, an Indiana Jones, a Jurassic Park. You know, we haven't had these major, massive franchises since the Deathly Hallows Part 2 left theaters, okay? But that's it, guys. Let me know down in the comments below what you think about Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone. Have a good one, peasants. Peace out. Bye-bye.